Hello and welcome to F1 Chatterbox. Please like and subscribe to our channel. Top 5 F1 controversial races. The high-stakes world of Formula One is synonymous with controversy. Here are some of the most controversial races that have happened in F1's long and storied history. 5. 1989 Japanese Grand Prix. In 1988, Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna's first season together at McLaren, it was Senna who emerged victorious to win his very first title. By 1989, however, Senna was the hunter, needing to beat Prost on track at the final race in Suzuka to win his second championship. The Brazilian got off to a terrible start, going from first to third by the end of the opening lap. On fresh tires, Senna soon caught up to the race leader, but their battle would end in disaster when Prost turned into Senna at the final chicane, damaging the latter's front wing. Prost's damage was terminal, but incredibly, Senna recovered to win the race, and therefore the championship. Shockingly, Ayrton was then disqualified for using an escape road to recover from the incident. A year later, the pair would once again meet at Suzuka for another iconic tussle. This time, it was Senna who held a slim championship lead, meaning that he would be victorious if Prost, who now drove for Ferrari, failed to finish. At the first corner, the McLaren driver went for a gap that simply wasn't there, taking both himself and Prost out of the race. Senna had exacted his revenge, even if he did insist that the crash wasn't intentional. 4. 1997 European Grand Prix. It has gone down in infamy as one of the most dramatic title deciders we've ever seen in F1. In 1997, Ferrari's Michael Schumacher was going head-to-head against Williams driver Jacques Villeneuve for the Drivers' World Championship. Heading into the final race of the season at Jerez, Schumacher held a 1-point lead over Villeneuve, leading to what was essentially a final race shootout. They were inseparable during qualifying, with Schumacher, Villeneuve and the Canadian's teammate, Heinz-Harald Frentzen, all setting the same time down a thousandth of a second. In the race itself, Schumacher leapt-frogged his rival into an early lead, but when Villeneuve caught up and attempted an overtake, disaster struck. Just as he had done to Damon Hill in 1994, Schumacher instinctively turned into Jacques Williams, in what looked like an intentional move to try and nullify his rival. Unlike in 1994, the car he crashed into was able to continue the race, with Villeneuve nursing his car home to win his first and only Drivers' World title. By contrast, Schumacher was forced to retire in acrimonious circumstances, and the FIA would take a dim view of his actions. The governing body opted to strip the German of his second-place finish in the 1997 standings. 3. 2005 US Grand Prix. New fans of F1 will only know the sport as having one sole tire supplier. Since 2010, the supplier in question has been Pirelli, but back in 2005, Formula One was in the midst of a tire war, as two manufacturers went head-to-head. Ferrari, Jordan and Minardi all used Bridgestone rubber, while the rest of the field was supplied by Michelin. When Toyota's Ralf Schumacher smashed into Indianapolis's notorious concrete wall at high speed during Friday's practice session, the Michelin tires were suddenly under scrutiny. Unable to assure the drivers and teams that their compounds were safe to race on, all of the Michelin runners would be forced to withdraw from the 2005 US Grand Prix. Last-minute compromises, such as implementing a chicane before the pit straight, were all rejected due to economic and political pressure. It led to a comical spectacle, as well over half the field drove back into the pit lane after the formation lap, leaving just the 6 Bridgestone cars out on track. Michael Schumacher won his only race that season for Ferrari, while Thiago Monteiro got on the podium for Jordan, only to be greeted by a chorus of boos and jeers emanating from a bewildered Indianapolis crowd. 2. 2008 Singapore Grand Prix. As its name suggests, it involved a driver, in this case, Renault's Nelson Piquet Jr., who intentionally crashed into the barrier in order to bring out a safety car. At the 2008 Singapore Grand Prix, Renault's Fernando Alonso looked like the man to beat, despite being in a fairly uncompetitive car for most of the season. After pitting early, Renault chiefs Flavio Briatore and Pat Fry knew that a safety car would hand them a huge advantage for the rest of the race. They, therefore, decided to execute a plan that had been discussed before the Grand Prix, which involved Alonso's teammate, Piquet Jr., crashing into the wall on purpose. The safety car duly came out, and Alonso romped home to take his only win of the season. All the while, the story rumbled on behind the scenes at Renault. After being sacked by the team for a string of poor performances in 2009, Piquet went public, revealing the full extent of the incident and how he was told to crash at a certain time. 1. 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. As expected, the Formula One title decider was full of drama, with starts, strategies and ends playing an important role in deciding Max Verstappen being the world champion. The race hit immediate controversy when Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen collided on the very first lap, with the Mercedes driver being pushed wide, which caused him to go into runoff, but enter back with a time advantage. With no investigation being taken on this incident, Red Bull and Verstappen were furious. The very last lap of the Grand Prix also ended in quite the controversy, with the winner being decided on that very lap. Just before the restart ahead of the yellow flag, some of the lapped cars were allowed to overtake leader Hamilton, which suddenly left him vulnerable to Verstappen and his fresh soft tires. Verstappen overtook Hamilton on the final lap and went on to win the title. FIA later admitted that the decision to allow only few lapped cars was a mistake. Thanks for watching. For more videos like this, like and subscribe to our channel.